You're out there guys, this is Dale of Lone Wombat Airsoft, and today we're taking a look at the Marui VSR-10 sniper rifle. Now I've owned the VSR for about 3 months now, so that's really got me a chance to get to know the gun, know how it works, what its flaws are, and most importantly I've given it a chance to break. Now I've put timestamps in the description down below, so if there's a specific thing you want to skip to find out about this gun, head down to there and I'll take you to the part of the video that is most relevant to you. And with that out of the way, on with the review. The TM VSR is based on the Remington Model 700, a gun that's been around for over 50 years now. The real steel one would include a 3, 4 or 5 round internal magazine depending on the calibre, or on special orders could have a 10 round exterior box mag. The calibres were wide and varied that this could fire, and some of them include the 223 Remington, 300 Win Mag and 338 Lapua to name a few. It was adopted by the US military as the M24 with some modifications and has served with numerous police forces around the world. More recently in the gun's history, however, were multiple lawsuits alleging that the trigger would discharge the rifle without being pulled. This led Remington to issue a statement saying they would fix the trigger units on all Model 700s, which covers some 7.5 million rifles. In the airsoft world, however, the TM VSR is the granddaddy of airsoft sniping. For many people, it's just the go-to gun. It's been around for donkey's years, and as a result, there are many internal parts that are available on the market for upgrades for this. So much so, in fact, that for many airsoft snipers owe their internal designs to this gun because being TM VSR compatible is a major selling point. It also means that they are compatible with the upgrade parts. So either being inspired by or direct rip-off, many airsoft snipers owe their designs to the TM VSR. For many people, it is the be-all and end-all of airsoft sniping. It's just the one they go to. The reliability is legendary, as is its accuracy and performance. I picked this gun up from ASPUK, and at the time of recording, they don't have the long-barreled one in stock, but they do have the G-spec with the included suppressor, so a link to that in the description down below. So what can you expect to find in the box aside from the gun itself? Well, when you open it up is your TM VSR, which comes with an included 30 round magazine. You also get a bunch of weird and random Japanese advertising flyers. No idea what these say, there's no translation on those whatsoever. A couple of shooting targets to plink out in the back garden, your manual, a barrel plug, and your token packet of rubbishy BBs. As I always say, don't use these. I know TM ones tend to be quite good, but never use the included BBs in my eyes. Get yourself some proper ones. Now, the manual itself, when you open it up, can look quite intimidating. There's a lot of Japanese in there. It's so intimidating, in fact, that you may not even notice that the bottom third of it is actually translated into English. You just tend to skim through that, get put off by all the Japanese and gloss over the fact that actually they have translated it for you. There's nothing wrong with the translation itself, there's no problems, missteps in there, and everything's neatly diagrammed anyway, so it's a fairly decent manual if you can get past the sheer bulk of Japanese characters in it. One thing that is very notable by its absence, however, in the box is the top rail. Now, you have to buy that separately for your sniper rifle. It comes with iron sights, sure, but who buys a sniper rifle to run it with iron sights? Like, okay guys, sure. So a couple of neat little things in the box. You tend to find these with TM guns a lot, and no complaints apart from the fact that that top rail was not included as standard. So first impressions when you pick up the gun, in my view, was that it's lighter than I was expecting. The JG-Bar-10 has a hollow stock in it, and this does not. However, that hasn't really adversely affected it. I know TM guns are famous for being their plastic builds, but this doesn't feel like it at all, to be fair. Like, it's got quite a nice, sleek finish to it. It's not rubberized like the Bar-10, but you can still get a good grip on it. But it feels really solid and planted. There's no creak in this gun, no wobble, nothing. Another cool thing is the fact that the bolt port is extremely light. I mean, you can just operate that with your little finger. There's barely any resistance in it whatsoever. So, first impressions when you pick this up are actually really quite impressive. So, going over some of the exterior features of the gun, starting right at the back with the rubberized buttstock. Now, it's not the grippiest thing in the world, but there's just enough to it to provide a very comfortable and very solid resting place in your shoulder, so no complaints with that. Going forward is the bolt action itself. Now, when you're operating it, it's extremely light, it is extremely smooth, very quick. One thing to note, however, is that this handle must be pushed all the way down before the gun will fire. If you leave it half up like that, it's not going to be able to pull the trigger. It has to go down all the way in order to operate it. One issue that I've run into this with, if you don't lift the handle up high enough before pulling it back, you've just knocked the gun onto safe. This happens to me all the time. I hate that safety position. It's just awful for it. I've missed so many opportunities in games because I've accidentally put the gun on safe and not realised. So much so that it's just habit now to just knock it forward with my thumb before taking a shot. So I ended up removing this safety on my bar 10, and I'm going to do it with this gun, and I strongly recommend that people do it as well. That safety is annoying as hell. Going down to the trigger pull. Now, it's no hair trigger by any means, but there's very minimal travel on it. It's very nice, it's very smooth, there's barely any effort required to operate it, so very nice trigger unit there. Up on the top is the top rail. Now, as mentioned earlier, it is not included. However, when you do buy it though, TM have kindly included enough screws to put it down securely, unlike the JG Bar 10. They only included 2 screws, TM include 4. This means that there's no wobble in the mount, so very nice and tidy there. On the underside is the mag and mag release. You operate it by pressing this little button just here, and that'll pop out your 30 round magazine. I've had no problems with these mags, they click into place nicely, they feed well, so job is a good one with those. Another plus point for the TM as opposed to the JG is the fact that this button doesn't protrude out of the shell. A problem I had with my JG is I'd go to rest it on a piece of cover or window ledge or something, and it would accidentally pop the mag release button and drop the mag. That is not present on this gun because the button is enough deep into the shell, so winner for that. Going forward again on the opposite side of the gun is the hop-up adjuster. Now, it's a very simple slide, and I tend not to like these ones. However, it's better than the one on the JG because there are distinct notches in it, so it's very easy to set it to the one you want it at. And once it's in there, it holds that position well, so definitely a better hop unit in my opinion. However, I'm requiring the hop to be put on all the way just to lift a 0.3 with this gun, and I don't think that's due to the hop itself, but we'll go into that in the next section. So, when I was last up at Black Dagger Airsoft, I managed to do a shooting test with this gun. The test was taken from 30 metres using 0.3 BBs, and I was firing from a stable position. One thing to note was the slight crosswind that was present on the day, however. So, as can be seen from the test, the shots were fairly good. Like, when they did connect with the target, there was a decent grouping on them. However, there was quite a significant amount that didn't connect with the target at all, and I don't think that's really indicative of the historic legacy that the TM VSR is known for its accuracy. And I think this disparity is because I took it at a decent range, and I was also firing outside where there's a crosswind. A lot of reviews tend to take place indoors at 20 metres. At 30, these results are a bit more exacerbated, but I think it's because it's firing at such a low velocity, the wind is affecting it more when it drifts through. So, to explain what I mean, we took it to ASPUK and we did an FPS test with the gun. .294, 294, 288, 289, 291, 292, 288. So, as the chronograph test shows, this gun is shooting extremely lightly. Now, whilst this is expected as standard from Japanese airsoft guns due to their internal airsoft restrictions, when it comes to sniping in other countries, however, this is less than ideal, especially for outdoor use. A low FPS means that your projectile takes longer to get to the target. That means it's affected by the wind more. The more it's affected by wind, the more it's going to get blown off target, and you can't even compensate for that by using a heavier BB, because anything more than a 0.3, and this gun won't be able to lift it at all. It's not even going to get to your target. The heavier BB takes a longer time to get there, and as I say, too heavy, the hop won't lift it. It will just hit the dirt before it actually reaches your target at 30 metres. So there definitely needs to be an FPS increase in this gun if you want to use it as an effective sniper. So where do you want to be on the airsoft field to get the absolute most out of this gun? Now, I could see the VSR working for anybody that favours themselves as a scout, for two reasons mainly. One, because it's extremely lightweight and therefore it's easy to run around quickly with it. And two, because even though this is the version that doesn't include the suppressor, it's extremely quiet when you fire it. So what I suggest you do then is when game on is called, sprint off into the distance towards the enemy team, find a nice hidey hole on their flanks and wait for them to walk the rest of the distance to you. If they've not seen you, then you're able to open up on them without them really knowing where you are due to the fact it's so quiet. Also, because it is shooting sub 350 FPS, there is no minimum engagement distance for you to worry about, so you can afford to let them come closer to you. And even when you open up on the first guy, chances are his teammates aren't really going to know where you are because it's so quiet. One problem, however, is you cannot rely on it for long distance shooting. Now, I know that's counterproductive as this is a bolt action sniper rifle, but this is mainly due to the fact the FPS is too low. Your accuracy isn't going to be there at long distances because the BB is going to take so long to get there. It'll just be affected by wind, it'll just drift off course, it won't be accurate. So do not rely on it for long distance shooting. However, that does not mean that the gun is unusable. So ultimately then, would I recommend buying the Tokyo Marui VSR-10 sniper rifle? Now, I think this question comes a lot down to personal preference. If you're just buying an airsoft sniper rifle and you intend to keep it as the base performance out of the box, then this is a more well-made, more reliable option than the JG-Bar-10 would be. You're getting a lot more solid a package for your money, even if you are spending a bit more money on it. If, however, you plan to rip out the internals entirely and get a completely insane upgraded gun, my question then would be, why are you paying more for a shell, essentially, when the JG-Bar-10 is almost as good and quite a fair bit cheaper? So what I'll say in conclusion then is, if you want an airsoft rifle out of the box that is cheap, get the JG-Bar-10. If you want one that is well-made, reliable and quiet, get the TM VSR. And if you want one that shoots well out of the box, but chances are will break on you at some point, have a look at the Ares Striker. And with those choices laid out in front of you, I leave that option up to you. Now, I hope you've enjoyed my video review of the TM VSR sniper rifle. If you've got any questions you'd like to ask me or feedback you'd like to give, leave them in the comments section down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And until next time, this has been Dale of Learn One by Airsoft.